Let's bring back Congressman Pat Fallon. Congressman, you just heard that report, so I want to get your take on this, because even though what's happening in the Red Sea seems far away, we've seen with the supply chain crisis that happened a couple of years ago, how quickly something like this can impact prices, can impact businesses stateside. And I find it interesting that President Biden has been taking a victory lap on Bidenomics, that you're seeing the inflation rate go down. But something like this could impact that, could drive it up. So how do you think the administration should be responding to what is essentially an Iran-backed attack?
Well, you project strength, just like Lindsey Graham said in the prior clip. You need to, the Iranians are behind all of this. So why don't we first deprive them of their funding? Joe Biden lifted all sanctions. He's not enforcing the ones that are on the books. And Iran's exports in Kelly and oil just a couple of years ago, before Joe Biden came in office, were about $7-8 billion. Now they're $42 billion. That's a lot more money to project. They're the greatest state sponsor of terror in the world. So, and also deprive them, the people that are giving the orders, like, we got to kill them. Soleimani sent a message that you can do this. If you want to make stupid choices, you're going to get stupid prizes. And that's what we need to do more of. You didn't see this kind of really behavior from the Iranians under President Trump. You just didn't.
So, Pat, it always begs the question, why? 'Cause it doesn't make any sense. Probably to you, you're scratching your head. Most Americans watching, they scratch their head. Why Joe Biden wouldn't be more aggressive with Houthi rebels, but also why he is not making Iran pay consequences for supporting these attacks on the shipping lanes, but also on American vessels. It doesn't make any sense because, to your point, it's a projection of weakness as opposed to strength. Are you getting a reason why? Are you hearing rumblings on the Hill as to why Joe Biden won't take stronger action?
Yeah, well, Joe Biden, let's go beyond honesty and talk about frankness. Joe Biden is a shadow of who he used to be. Yeah. He's got horrible advisors, and they're left of him, and he's way left of center. And so they're making this, these appeasement type of strategy where we'll just leave Afghanistan. We won't project any strength. We'll even leave billions of dollars worth of equipment. We want to get along with the Iranians if we just talk to them. No, there are some people on the planet that are just so evil, you can't talk to them. And the Iranians are bullies. You punch a bully in the face, they'll react and they'll change their behavior, because the best English the Iranian regime understands is a gun to their head.
Really well said. All right, let's turn to this, Pat, because the Pelosi family stock market activity smells a little more than a little bit fishy again.
So last month, Nancy Pelosi and her husband, Paul, bought 50 call options with a strike price of $120 in NVIDIA. And according to disclosure forms, the transaction was somewhere between $1 million, $5 million. And I want to note that the current price for NVIDIA stock is around $4.94 per share.
So this isn't the first time the Pelosi's have dabbled in trading NVIDIA stock. So in July of 2022, Paul Pelosi offloaded 25,000 shares of NVIDIA at an average price of $165 per share. He lost more than $340,000 on that trade. He went on to sell 50 more call options on NVIDIA. That trade also was a loss for the Pelosi's.
Now, the trades in particular drew scrutiny because Congress was on the verge of passing the CHIPS Act, remember, which Pelosi publicly backed, and NVIDIA was, of course, set to directly benefit from.
No doubt. And some folks are saying that this latest bet from Mr. Pelosi could be a way to win back his previous losses, considering NVIDIA shares have been extremely hot this year. So, Pat, when I was in Congress, we pushed to make sure that members of Congress had to disclose their stock trades. And I'm going to go on a limb and say you probably don't have any insider information as a rank and file member. I know I didn't. But as the former speaker and as a leader in the Democrat Party, the leadership of both parties have insider information that the rest of us don't have about what bills are going to move, what money's going to be spent. And this just feels gross that the Pelosi's are making so much money off these stock trades. And again, it's not that Congress doesn't have any action. As Kelly mentioned, the Stock Act was in play as they were buying and selling NVIDIA stock.
Sean, I couldn't have said it better myself. The rank and file members, we don't have any inside information. And if I did, I would never trade on it. And, we've all been accused of certain things. You get to this level, at the federal level, and people, there's a reason to say, hey, you've done this or that. It's in totality. So when I got accused of this, I said, listen, I'll give you all of my statements, literally every trade I've ever made. I don't trade it anymore. I haven't in 2 years, but I lost $500,000 while a member of Congress in totality. And I would just like the Pelosi's to do that. Why don't you just disclose, like I did, every single trade I've ever made, give it, let the press see it, just withhold your account numbers and see how much they made. They probably have made tens of millions of dollars because just as you said, when you're in leadership, you can affect the stock price just on talking about legislation or just about saying that we may file something. So I am all for a complete ban from trading individual stocks on members of Congress. I filed legislation to do so, and also to not only protect the public, but to deny those clickbait very unscrupulous media members out there that falsely accuse members of doing things when they didn't do anything wrong.
Well, thank you so much, Pat. We really, Representative Pat Fallon, we appreciate your time, Congressman. And I think it's an important point that you make about transparency, disclose or ban. Thanks for joining us.
Amen. Happy New Year.
Good stuff,
Take care.
Congressman. Thank you. Happy New Year. It's interesting, Kelly, because again, we got allegations all the time when you're in Congress that you're making money off insider information. And the truth is, you really don't have insider information.
Yeah.
I know in Congress what you know, but truly in leadership, they're driving legislation far more than the average member, and you can make a lot of money. And Paul Pelosi, the Pelosi's have made, he's to his point, tens and tens of millions of dollars off really remarkable stock trades. And I don't know that Paul Pelosi is that great of a stock picker, or is he using insider information to get wonderful results for his family?
Well, I think that the congressman made a really good point that, okay, you don't have insider information, but speaking as the only person among us two that has not served in Congress, and previously the conversation is three.
The only one who went to Harvard, too.
We'll get into that one later. That's C Block. But, I'm kind of sitting here going, okay, well, you say that, but there's just such a lack of trust from voters in government. And you see trades like this. You see people making so much money that I think that it should be that you can't trade, because I think just at least when you're in Congress, when you're serving, that should be your sole focus.
Individual stocks. If you want to buy a fund, I'm okay with that.
Sure, of course.
But you're right. The trust is gone because the American people see someone making so much money that the average person can't make, and that's where they lose trust in the system and wonder if you're gaming the system as a member of Congress, making yourself rich when you're supposed to be focused on, your constituents. And I think it's really important for you want poor members of Congress, kind of well-to-do, but not that rich members, and you want rich members. You want a whole smattering of America to serve in Congress. What I find disgusting is when people come in poor, and while they're in Congress, they get rich. Something's wrong with that. I never figured that one out, how you get rich in Congress, but people are, and it smells to high heaven when that happens, because something's not right. No,
it definitely does. And, that NVIDIA trade, you're sitting here wondering, okay, what does this person know? We have seen that stock tick up, up, up. We know that Congress, we know that the government is focused on AI regulation, promoting chip creation here in the U.S., and it just makes you, what did you say, John? Fishy? It smells a little fishy.
Can I make one point? So what could Nancy Pelosi know on this? So Joe Biden, this administration has put sanctions on China and selling chips to China.
Right.
Nancy Pelosi may know that Joe Biden may soften those sanctions on chip sales to China, and therefore NVIDIA would skyrocket. I don't know, but maybe Nancy does.
Yeah, and we're all wondering, and people may be making trades on those assumptions right now, which could be dangerous.